Welcome to this mini course on doing retargeting with your Facebook ads in 2023. So this is going to be a short and sweet, direct to the point tutorial on how should you set up your retargeting in 2023. Should you even retarget your audience as an e-commerce brand utilizing Facebook ads this year? So stay tuned to learn more on these ad techniques. If you don't know who I am, my name is Justin and I'm the founder at Wizo Media, an e-commerce marketing agency specializing in elevating thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 different ways that you can do retargeting, and some of them actually have very little retargeting done. And I'll show you also the pros and cons of retargeting your audience. So this first one is about our latest campaign structure that we've been started to use a lot more over the last few months with some of our accounts, which looks like this. So I have a complete breakdown on my channel showing you exactly how to do a dynamic creative test with Facebook, and that walks you through this exact campaign structure. And our goal with that campaign structure is to go broad, is to have as broad as possible targeting within this. And if you notice the targeting that we use with that campaign, it's written here at the top right of this image. And it says, no interest, only limit age, gender, country, or region. Exclude purchasers 7, 14, or 30 days based on the brand's buying cycle. So with that said, we exclude a kind of very short-term gap of these customers just because we don't want to tap into the same people over and over again. But looking to that campaign in itself, you are doing both acquisition and retargeting within the same campaign. Now, why is that and how does that work? Well, first of all, Facebook is usually very smart in terms of budget distribution. With such a campaign, it'll usually try and find new customers first before getting you all the kind of returning customer pool. So usually just by trusting the algorithm and $1 trillion company, let's remind ourselves of that, usually does a very good job. Now, we've noticed on average, on the very kind of worst side, Facebook will do a bit of a 50-50 split. That's if you're in a pretty small market or audience. If you notice a 50-50 or a 60-40 split, that means you're just targeting too small of a market. You actually need to go broader. You need to go with, if you're targeting like a Canadian province or a state in the US, then go nationwide. Or if you're already targeting all the US, then bring Canada in your targeting, or bring also the UK. Get more people in if you feel that your budget is not being split the right way. And usually that'll fix the trick. So in that case, there's no specific campaign for retargeting. It's actually done in the same campaign. We call it a prospecting campaign because its primary goal is to prospect, it's to find new customers. But it will also inevitably end up capturing existing customers in the same campaign. So that's one way of doing your retargeting, is that you basically don't address it as a standalone need. Its own need is met within that campaign. And the thing is that I just also want to preface this video by saying 99% of the time, your retargeting should not really be done with ads. You are going to be retargeting with ads if you are doing a poor job at retargeting elsewhere. You need to have a strong retention strategy in place. Email, SMS, community building, retention, loyalty program. That should get your customers to come back and buy again. The first time that people come in and see your brand, they should actually, it should be through acquisition and prospecting ads. So this is going off the assumption that you already have a strong retention strategy in place. Now, if you don't, then there is the traditional quote unquote old school way of retargeting, which is you have its separate campaign to do so. Now, this campaign could work in collaboration with this one right here, or you could also have a traditional top of funnel and middle of funnel / bottom of funnel campaign. Some people even split middle of funnel and bottom of funnel into 2 different campaigns, but honestly, I haven't done that since 2020. I haven't split both of these audiences since 2020. If we are going to use this campaign type, it's going to be both together. It just doesn't make sense to split both ends of the funnel. Middle of funnel would usually be like engagers, website visitors, etc. Bottom of funnel would usually be like people who have added to cart, initiated checkout. But technically there's an overlap. Like anybody who visited or anybody who added to cart or initiated checkout, they inevitably visited your website, right? So that's just a given. And then you're having a separate website that is, or a separate ad set or campaign that is just for your, as it says right here, like let's say Facebook and IG engagement. Doesn't make sense either. So what I would do is have a separate campaign that looks like the following. It basically is a middle of funnel and a bottom of funnel campaign. It says ABO, by the way, it's a CBO campaign, so small typo over there. You have only one ad set in it, and it's a warm mix that we do. So we usually do like a warm mix 180 days. So by warm mix, this is what we have inside of it. We have video viewers, we have Facebook and IG engagement, and we have website visitors, all of it 180 days. We exclude purchasers also from there, 7, 14, maybe even 30 days max, just to make sure that, again, we're just not showing the same ad to the same people over and over again. That's about it. There's about 3 to 5 ads in this ad set. That's it. It's very simple. And usually that just adds to either the above strategy that you have right here, or in quote unquote old top of funnel campaign that you would have separately. Now, I'm really not a big fan of that anymore, or at least not long term. I am in the short term. This could work if you have as an example, you're launching a big new collection, you want to do some retargeting up front, and you don't really have good emails set up, or you don't have an agency for that, or you can't for some reason have a strong retention program in place. Therefore, use that, but use it maybe for a week or two and then kill it and just focus on this. The reason being the following. I made a recent video about calculating your new customer ROAS, and what I said is the following. A lot of the time, brands need to also be looking into profit in the future. If you don't, or even if you do profit today on the first order, when acquiring a new customer, you need to understand that if you're gonna spend to get that customer to purchase again. So if you're gonna spend money on ads to get that customer to make a second purchase, you're paying for that customer twice. And that decreases your profitability. That decreases your profitability because you, again, end up paying for that same customer twice. You should not have to worry about this. Most of the time, you need to pay for a customer as close as possible to one time. Again, it's impossible to never pay more than once for a customer, because given with that structure as mentioned above, you will have a percentage of the budget that will be put towards automatically like returning purchasers. They'll see these ads. Therefore, you will be paying for them once again. But focusing on new customer ROAS is key with these campaign style, because you want to make sure that you are being as profitable as possible. Now, the third and last way of doing retargeting is if you're leveraging Advantage Plus campaigns. That one is honestly the simplest one to set. So if you've built an Advantage Plus campaigns, the screen looks like this. At the campaign level, you have a little checkbox that you can check, which says existing customer budget cap. So set a maximum budget percentage to spend in your existing customers. We'll likely spend less than the percentage you've set, but we'll aim to spend no more. So if you did not put an existing customer budget cap, you give Facebook full control over who it shows your ads to. And sometimes we've seen that if there is no budget cap that is put right here, it can be a pretty big split. Again, like by default, we might have a 50-50 or more split in terms of returning customers for an established brand. So what we do, because again, we like to focus a lot more on acquisition for the reasons mentioned here, we want to stick as close as possible to a low new customer ROAS that we need, because we don't want to necessarily have to pay for the same customer twice, given that we work with a certain caliber of e-commerce brands. We put our existing customer budget cap to 0 so that it only spends on new customers. But in your case, watching this video, if you're watching this wanting to retarget, because again, you're not going heavy into emails or anything right now, do 20%. No more than 20% I'd put right here. Sometimes it says, by the way, it'll aim to spend no more. It's not true. It spends a little bit more sometimes. And we could see that how through triple while. So if you look at triple while, the new customer ROAS is technically not exactly 80%. Sometimes it's like 75%, 70%. So we're usually going to set it at no more than 20% of your budget to be spent on existing customers. And you might ask yourself, like, how does Facebook know if those are existing customers? Basically, a part of that same campaign, so on an Advantage Plus campaign, a little higher in the setup screen, it would tell you to select an audience that you have created, so a custom audience on Facebook that is with all of your existing customers. So the best way for you to do that is to have either a Klaviyo list that is automatically synced to Facebook. It's probably the best way to do it. So you can have an automatically updated audience on Facebook that is synced to your Klaviyo all customers email list. So every time a new customer comes in, it automatically updates it on your Facebook list. Or you could have like a manual list that you create with, let's say, all Facebook purchases or all Pixel purchases, and that would probably do the trick too. So that said, I would recommend the first one, which is having a Klaviyo automatically synced audience to this right here. So which one is the best at the end of this video? I think, in my opinion, it's a mix of the third or the first one. Those two are great structures. We're actually testing out right now a new Advantage Plus structure for some of our clients. So we're trying to see if utilizing different Advantage Plus campaigns is actually better than using this DCT structure that we've been using for a few months. So that's what we're working on right now internally. But that said, I would refrain from going with the old way right here of manually doing retargeting. except for a short-term period. Again, if you do it for a short-term period to sort of revive an account or spark some engagement for a new sale, potentially do it. But moving down the line, like, don't do that for more than a month max. You want to focus on prospecting right here to make sure that you are having a low new customer ROAS to hit. And just to hammer this point one last time, it made a separate video on this, so I'll recommend you check this video out actually on going through this tool and how should you set up your numbers as an e-commerce brand. But just to make a quick calculation of how retargeting actually affects your ROAS, it's, let's just say you are having an AOV of $78 and you know that within 3 months your customer lifetime value increases to roughly $98. So you gain about 20 bucks extra on a customer within the first 3 months. That's great. If you've only acquired a customer and paid for them once, so new customer ROAS of, let's say, 1.24 you got on the front end, well, for that customer to be profitable after 3 months, you would have needed to hit 1.03 actually, because technically it doesn't take it until the first purchase profit. We're taking the 3-month LTV into play right here. So you would have needed to hit 1.03. Now, if you're doing retargeting, let's just say you're paying for that same customer a second time. That second time you're paying for that customer, you've actually paid a cost per acquisition, not for acquiring that customer, but not CAC, but essentially CPA. So acquiring that purchase, you've paid, let's say, $12. Well, technically, just for the sake of this example, you would have to subtract this 12 bucks to this 3-month LTV. So I'd have to come right here and remove $12 to go down to 86, which, going back to it now, I would have needed to hit 1.14 to break even, not 1.03, 1.14 to break even. So if I had 1.03 initially and I was like, yes, I'm gonna make money in 3 months now. Well, you're not, because you just paid for that same customer a second time. Now, actually, you should have gotten 1.14 the first time that you paid for that customer to make sure that you were profitable in 3 months. To go more in depth with that, I highly recommend you first check out the other video I have on this, and check the first link in the description down below to join our free PCAD community, which had a full comprehensive, free for everyone mini course on paid advertising for e-commerce brands. I detail this out in there, so check this out again in the description down below. And if you've made it this far in this video and would like us as an agency to run all of your paid advertising campaigns and produce all of your creatives, also check out the description down below and book in a call with our team. On that note, make sure you check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.